Hi, I'm Florian and I'm a cinematographer. I think I did have an early love for the visual image. I grew up in a tiny village. We had this little theater group. We would set up these performances, and that's how I kind of entered that entire world. When I was 21, I first did an internship at a small rental place in Berlin. I did half a year in the camera department, half a year in the lighting department. I decided to apply to film school, and that was probably the biggest change because it was all about film as an art form. When I was at film school, we had a new head of school who was very motivated and an esteemed filmmaker in Germany called Reinhard Hauff. And he brought a lot of masters of their craft to the school at this point, which was quite unusual. I was in my first year, and I happened to walk down the corridor, and Reinhard Hauff comes racing past me. He says, "Come with me, jump in this car. We're going to the Berlin Film Festival. We're going to meet Elia Kazan." I think he received his Lifetime Achievement Award, and he had asked to meet students on his own ambition. So we're all sitting there, and Elia Kazan comes in, and the only thing he said, "Do what you want." That's what he said, "Do what you want to do." I have thought about that because, you think like, God, that's like the most easiest thing to say. It means that you have to really figure out what it is that only you can do and only you can want to do. It's very simple, but I have thought a lot about that encounter. I kept on working as a spark. I always had one foot in the so-called real world, for lack of better words, and then one foot in the world where you sit in an editing room till like 4 o'clock in the morning and you discuss if you want to take out one frame or not. So it was a very passionate time, and I still take a form of inspiration out of that devotion that we felt back then when we were at film school. I do have to credit Panavision London. I started in Germany, I finished my film education, then I just by chance happened to run into a British director. Her name was Antonia Bird. Her regular British DoP wasn't available in the German service production. Introduced me to her. That brought me to the UK because Antonia was a very exposed and highly regarded director in England. And then I shot my first little BBC television series back then with a director called Otto Bathurst and Simon Curtis. I got introduced by the focus puller to Charlie Totman. He said, well, you got to meet these guys because they're going to seriously help as collaborators in the filmmaking process. I was very, very interested in testing, and we would just go over there. And that was back in the day when digital hadn't really appeared, so old lenses weren't really that fashionable. Panavision London, they literally had every piece of glass that one could imagine. They were terribly supportive for me. So that was a very, very key relationship I had. With directors, normally I find the collaboration is always quite intimate, and ideally you do it more than once. I shot a couple of films with Antonia, then I had a chance to work with Terence Davis on 2 films. So ideally I have these relationships, but I don't have that singular relationship with a director that I go back to all the time. It's one of the ideals you grow up with in film school. You think of Scorsese and the great collaborations they had with their regular DOPs over many, many films. But I find there's also something liberating in this because you get exposed to so many different emotions and styles. I find it always invigorating to work with somebody I don't know. There's always a very singular moment that I find astonishing, which is when the clapperboard gets hit. There is a moment when everybody gets quiet. There is a form of collaborative concentration that is created. And I think that is one of the most beautiful things that human beings can do. So when you get lost in all the bad things because you haven't been home and you're tired, that's the moment when I always think this is a cool thing to do.